Hey, what's up, Street Dogs? The Eric from the Eric Street Photography blog. So this is this is one of the new ideas I have, which is kind of a riff based on something I've said in the past. The notion is creatorism. So what is creatorism? Creatorism is kind of the antidote to consumerism. So consumerism is basically, I think it's more of an American thing, right? So it's basically the notion that if I consume more, I'll be happier, and the point of life is it's kind of a mix of hedonism too, is that like to maximize pleasure and minimize pain. But the reason I don't like that is sometimes actually pain could be one of the most rewarding things in life. And pain can also be the stimulus of growth. So for example, there's good pain, there's bad pain. Good pain is the type of pain that helps us become stronger and grow. So for example, yesterday I just deadlifted 450 pounds, and actually I'm not that sore. I'm like a little bit sore, but I have a little bit of pain in my thighs and my whatever. But that's a good pain because it becomes a stimulus to growth. It makes me feel stronger. It makes me become stronger. And also, I think about what makes me so mentally resilient, perhaps, is because I faced a lot of childhood trauma, and actually that was like what I think Nassim Taleb or someone else calls post-traumatic growth, where when something traumatic happens to you, rather than just it destroying you, it actually makes you a stronger person. And that the tricky thing about that in life is that not everyone who experiences trauma will become a stronger person. Some people crumble, and I don't think it's necessarily people's fault. I just had good role models, mentors, and people in my life, so I think I was just lucky and fortunate. And so, taking it back to consumerism, it's good to consume. Obviously, if I never consumed food, I would die. If I never consumed water, I would die. And if I never consumed coffee, I'd probably die too. Those are for those coffee addicts out there. But anyways, so I once had this notion of producerism, which I think is a pretty good one, is that generally speaking, the more you produce, the happier you are. But maybe I don't like the word produce or producerism, because to produce things, like, you got a movie producer, like people don't really know what that is. So I'm like, okay, let me try to simplify this. I like the word of being a creator or creating, because at least in modern society, we have the notion of being creative, which kind of not that good of a definition, because I think people tend to think about creativity as novel, innovative, artistic insight. And the reason I don't think this is good, because how bad would it be if you went to a kid who's doing water painting and be like, yo, kid, your water painting sucks. Like, someone else has done this before you and it's probably done it way better than you. I'm like, yo, that would just not be nice, right? But you just kind of let the kid do his thing. And so that's why I feel that in some ways, this is actually one of the downsides of the internet is, there's a nice Nietzsche quote is, madness is rare in the individual, but in the crowd it is the norm, or something like that, which means with the internet, especially with anonymity, we kind of have this crazy mob mentality. And it's just like, my thought is, like, I don't know if I ever left a comment on the internet. Like, I don't think I've ever left a YouTube comment. I've never left a comment in Reddit in the past or whatever. Like, I'm just like not interested. so you think about the bias is that people, like, what motivates someone to actually leave a comment on like a random YouTube video or internet blog or something? I think it tends to be just people who are just kind of like, I don't know, just like bored, or they don't like themselves, and they feel that they want to augment their low self-esteem by putting other people down. So anyways, the internet is actually often not a good place for a comment. So this is why I never read YouTube comments, or I turn off comments on my blog, because their feedback, whether good or bad, is not really useful to me. What I'm more interested in is creating and sharing and continuing to be productive. But anyways, so taking it back to creatorism or being creative, I kind of like the notion that creativity is just a propensity to create, is that we delight in creating, we like to create stuff, we like to make stuff, and there's no focus on like whether it's good or bad or not. It's just like whether you're having fun or not. And this is so funny too, because like, you know, kids like to have fun, right? But as adults, we're not allowed to have fun. It's like, yo, you either got to be making money, you got to be being productive, and it all comes around back from this American notion of utilitarianism, is that, you know, what is generally good for the collective and society is good, what's good for the individual is bad. And any time that you spend devoting to yourself, you're being selfish and evil and you're bad. And anything that's good for society and the collective is good. Thus, you must become as useful a utility and tool for the collective rather than focusing on yourself and your own self-development. Now, this is really bad because nowhere in the equation is like this notion that, oh, the more you create, the better. And so I think I really want to fight back with this. So simple things you could do to create today. I assume you have a smartphone. I mean, who doesn't at this point, right? It don't matter if you have Android, Samsung, you know, Huawei, iPhone, whatever. Yo, you got a digital camera, you got a video function, you got a recorder app. There's so many different ways you could creatively create stuff. So, you know, a lot of people have been doing podcasts, which is cool. So there's actually this new platform that I've been using. It's called Anchor. This is free in the App Store, anchor.fm. You could go to the website and you can just start uploading audio and bada bing, bada boom, you have a podcast. Super easy. Another example, what you could do is, you know, just use a selfie function on your phone or your digital camera, whatever, and just allow yourself to vlog nonsense about anything you're curious about. So, you know, I think vlogging is so interesting because, you know, I like to write too, but, you know, some people like to write a script beforehand and talk, and you know, that's cool and whatnot, but man, it's just way too much work, and it actually ends up coming off a little bit like not as authentic, or it feels a little bit too forced. So like, even when I go to talks or other people, when they're just reading off a sheet of paper or reading off their PowerPoint slide, I'm like, yo, this is a huge waste of time. I could just read this online. Whereas if you could use your speaking voice and as natural as a manner as you can, people find that way more interesting. At least I know I do. And so you can start making vlogs about whatever. And you know, on the YouTube app, or just go to youtube.com/upload. If you already have a Google account or a Gmail or a YouTube account, you could immediately start uploading videos, right? And just make videos about like whatever kind of things which are interesting to you. And my thought is, as long as you get more than one view, you're doing a good job, right? Because like, yo, think about it. If you could just impact the life of one other human being on planet Earth, considering how empowering that is. And, you know, even now, like, you know, I got like, over 60,000 subscribers or whatever. And you know, like some of my videos get like 10 views or 50 views, but like, yo, what if that's like 50 Quentin Tarantinos watching me? Like, you never know, right? And also just like as a selfish benefit, the more I blog or vlog or whatever, the more I could just kind of flesh out my thoughts, and kind of the more happy I am too. And so if you're not the talking type, you can always write. I like to write. I like to do a lot of blogging. And I don't even consider myself a writer because that term is too muddled with all these pretentious notions of whatever it means to be a writer. I just like to write out my thoughts. And to me, writing is almost a necessity. It's not like I want to try to be a good writer for the sake of being a good writer. I think of writing and blogging as meta thinking. Is, you know, like earlier I had the thought like, when is big good, when is big bad? And I was just, you know, just kind of typing out my thoughts. And in the process of typing something out, I discovered more interesting truths about myself or why I do what I do. And so, whatever you create, whether it be drawings, pictures, illustration, whatever, you do analog, digitally, Photoshop, Illustrator, Procreate, whatever. Don't strive to make good things. Just make stuff, and then also just share it. And you don't even have to share it. Just, you know, I mean, I like to share things because it brings me joy knowing that there's other human beings being influenced and being impacted by my stuff. But once again, that's all, everything's optional. But essentially the reason I make this video is that I just really want to empower you, empower other human beings, so we could all do dope shit and thrive. So moral of the story is, when in doubt, create more. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Peace out.